Well, welcome everyone to the Board of Ed meeting on this March 24th, 2026. The time now is 7:30. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to turn over to Mrs. Muscarella for superintendent's comments. Oh, sorry.
Anyway. Good evening and welcome to the March 24th Board of Education meeting. It's with great pride that I share several incredibly wonderful things that have happened here from talented and spirited students and staff across the district. A standing ovation for the arts. Under the direction of Mr. Smith and Mrs. Van Bob, our middle school students recently transported the world, all of us, to Arendelle with their spectacular production of Frozen Junior. The professionalism and the performance, from the polished musical numbers to the Broadway caliber stage scenes, was a testament to the creativity of our students and to the tireless guidance of their faculty advisors. It really was, if you saw it, you know, it was just like being in the theater. I thought at one point it was lip sync. It was just amazing. Well, the stage remains set here at the high school now for this weekend. The Plainage High School, under the direction of Mr. Ryan Lane and Mr. Mike Cipriano, presents The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And from March 26th to 28th, I encourage you to look on our website to secure tickets for that show. There are 3 different performances. Innovation and excellence in robotics, and I could be wrong, but I think there are robotics people here because they have the same shirt on. Okay. So I'm thrilled to recognize the outstanding performance of the middle school robotics team 7662. Under the direction of Mr. Jonathan Kowalik and Mr. Dan Page, this talented group of 11 7th and 8th graders showcased remarkable technical skill, scouting, programming, and piloting their robot all the way to the finals. Competing primarily against high school teams, our students placed 4th overall. Furthermore, the team secured the prestigious Rising Star Award, recognizing their commitment to gracious professionalism and their status as role models for other young teams. We look forward to a very bright and sustainable future for our robotics team. Are you all on the robotics team? Stand up so we can clap for you, all right? Great job. All right, now, next is championship success on the court. Please join me in a resounding congratulations. We've talked about it to the girls varsity basketball team, along with their coaches, Sarah Tansey, the coach, and assistant coaches Brittany Messina and Juliana Keenan. Following their Nassau Class A victory, the team triumphed at Stony Brook University to become the Long Island Class A champions. This historic achievement reflects the grit and sportsmanship of our student athletes, and the entire community celebrates their hard-earned success. Last night, we were investing in our students' future. So last night, our high school, under the direction of guidance director, Mr. Greg Wasserman, hosted a college fair, a college and career fair, welcoming nearly 100 colleges and organizations for what was our largest and most diverse event to date. This year's program expanded beyond traditional 2- and 4-year colleges to also highlight the wide range of vocational and career pathways, ensuring that all students could explore options aligned with their interests and their goals. Students and families have the opportunity to connect directly with admissions representatives from across the country, gaining valuable insight into academic programs, campus life, and the application process. In addition to the main fair, they offered 3 breakout sessions focused on key topics, including transition to college for students with IEPs and 504 plans, the recruitment process for college athletes, and overall vocational opportunities. This event reflects our continued commitment to supporting all students in planning for their futures. To add on to that, there's College Awareness Week this week. The middle school students are participating in College Awareness Week, a series of activities designed by the guidance department to introduce them to the many pathways after high school. Throughout the week, students are engaging in conversations that will help them begin to see the connection between their current learning and their future goals. Teachers are sharing their own educational journeys, which I think is a great idea, because they just thought they came that way, I think, most students, giving students a personal and relatable perspective on post-secondary experiences. Students are also taking part in themed activities such as College Shirt Day, creative door decorating contests, and virtual college tour to broaden their understanding of different campuses and programs. Highlight of the week includes question and answer session with high school seniors, providing our middle school students with insight into the planning process. Overall, College Awareness Week is an important step in fostering an understanding of careers and colleges and the curiosity around both, and helping our students begin thinking about their future possibilities in a meaningful and engaging way. Looking toward the summer, finally, as we look, I can't even believe that, but as we look toward the warmer months, I'm pleased to announce that summer enrichment registration is now open. This program is a beloved tradition in our district, blending academic engagement with social joy of a summer camp. To ensure your child's place in the dynamic program, please visit our district website for registration details. And now, to end on a very, very positive note, we are going to now take a look. Before we end, I'd like to share with you the elementary library and media centers and the elementaries are back in action and are absolutely beautiful places for our students to read, learn, and enjoy.
Public Schools is excited to announce the reopening of our Plain Edge Elementary Library Media Centers. This capital project will benefit the students of Plain Edge for generations to come. It features collaborative, interactive, and thoughtfully designed student-centered spaces and quiet reading corners. These modern, bright, and re-envisioned spaces will foster their love of reading and research. Thank you to the Board of Education, Administration, and librarians for their continued support of literacy for all here in Plain Edge.
And our middle school library will be opening for probably right after the break. Thank you. Oh, actually, before I end, wishing everybody a very nice spring break, and whatever you celebrate, enjoy with your families.
Thank you, Mrs. Muscarella. Yeah, we don't have a student rep, so we're going to jump right down to discussions and presentations. Updated the 2026-2027 budget.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, we are here for draft number 4 of the budget. As we have already recapped everything that's happened to date through November, and here we are into March. This evening, we're going to have one final presentation, which is, I shouldn't say final, one presentation this evening on instructional and administrative technology programs. And then in April, we will come back, Peter and I, to present on fund balance, reserve plans, and the revenue projections. To date, we have been discussing the expenditure side of the budget. As we all know, expenditures and revenues must be equal in a school budget. So while we have been moving forward on what we will be spending in the upcoming year, we also now need to start detailing where our revenue is going to be driven from. And that will lead us to other conversations after we take a look at fund balance and reserve planning. After that, we will have one more deliberation. Hopefully, April 14th will be our last presentation of our final draft of the budget. The board should look to adopt on April 21st. We then need to report on the property tax report card within 24 hours after that filing. And then we will move into May, where we start to have our public hearing, all geared up towards the school budget vote for May 19th. So we began at 113 million, and we have gone through a few iterations. These are recaps of the February 10th meeting, our March 10th budget meeting, and today's meeting. So now at the March 24th presentation, we have fine-tuned our pencils to paper, and we are now looking at a 2.96 increase year over year. We have had the most significant changes, as you can see. There have been some slight changes in materials, in transfers to special aid, but the largest difference in this iteration is that we took a further, closer look at ERS, TRS, and Social Security, FICA, which are part of the biggest parts of our benefit plan. Some of this comes from the fact that when we initially roll out the budget, we take all of our gross wages and then apply the TRS rate, the ERS rate, and the FICA rate to come up with our gross numbers. As we go through our iterations, we start to fine tune. A week or two ago, TRS came out with their final rate, ERS has come out with their rate, And then in addition to that, we have taken a deeper dive into what makes up all of our salaries. And there are portions of our salaries, particularly the employee side of health insurance, healthcare waiver buyouts, and there are particular categories of salaries that are not ERS and TRS eligible. So when you deduct those out from the gross numbers, that's where those significant decreases come from. So at this point in time, the only additions that we've added back in have been the increase for the Chromebook replacement plan, which they're going to go into in greater detail in the next presentation, and some Chromebook carts for the younger grades. So at this point in time, we are at $111,191,968.
Thank you.
Okay.
You always less questions when it's going down.
All right, so we have some guests here tonight. We have Frank Asmus, he's our senior network engineer. And we have Aiden, I don't know what to call Aiden, our jack of all trades, I guess is the best way to describe him. A look at our last year's budget versus the budget that we're presenting tonight. You can see that it went up by $247,000. We'll get into details of why. In addition to that, there's about $400,000 worth of wages that are associated with this area of the budget. That would be the Director of Technology, a part-time clerk works in this department, as well as our data specialist who, how would you describe her?
There's a lot of state reporting and grading and assessments.
Next page. There's various categories within the instructional budget, technology budget. I'm going to skip over the two categories that have BOCES associated with them. We'll go into a little more detail on different pages here. And I'll just give you a brief description of what's in each category. So district copying, that's where we pay for our warranties on our copiers and Lexmark support, as well as Lexmark My Classroom, as well as replacement printers.
Lexmark My Classroom is for basically integrating Google Classroom that teachers utilize at the physical machines, where they can just upload documents at the machine to their Google Classroom. They don't have to do it at their desks or something like that. They can actually do everything at the machine themselves, which some teachers like to do, as opposed to being on their Chromebook or on their desktop. It's a good tool that we can facilitate and have them to use.
We also have a budget for computer instructional equipment of about $125,000. We replace Chromebooks through that category throughout the year that fail on us throughout the year. That's exclusive of our cycle replacement of the Chromebooks. Interactive whiteboards, any network devices that might fail, we would buy out of there. Interactive projectors, and we also have an allocation where we have to provide funding to Maria Regina for equipment, computer equipment.
That handles most of our day-to-day hardware things that we deal with. UPSs that fail, which protect our network closets for switching, document cameras in the classrooms, projectors, like Peter said, basic functionality of the standard network that they have in the classrooms that they utilize every day that we're usually supporting. So that helps us to replace things that either age out, break, or something that may happen with those, and that's really where that comes out of.
Next category is computer instructional contractual code. We budget about $280,000 there. That's for mostly support and maintenance agreements. Some of the agreements include network support, SureNet support, mobile device repairs, Liebert Emerson maintenance. That is our UPS backup for the computer system downstairs, as well as our air conditioning unit downstairs, Aruba wireless support, Dell server warranties, and Cisco phone system support.
Right. So that encompasses all of our maintenance and or firmware upgrades, software upgrades, all the things that we have through contractual things, like Peter said, for our Liebert UPS downstairs in the main NOC. It covers all of our maintenance and support for those systems, as well as anything as far as our wireless system, which are our upgrades, our controllers that we have. There's only a little back-end support to keep the systems running at the most optimal network thing that we basically deployed by the manufacturer to make sure that we keep everything up to date for security purposes, 0-day things that may come out that were patched and we're covered for, and that's what covers that.
We also have a code for computer instructional software, it's about $230,000. That's various software programs used both the educational side as well as back-end support of the district. Some of the larger items include VMware, vSphere, WinCap, which is our financial and HR software that we use to run the school, Schoolfront, and Follett Library Manager.
Yeah, that for our software, basically anything that we need for our, obviously our financial system, plus our virtual environment, which runs our desktops and our servers. It also employs for software and stuff that educators may come to us or through Dennis or Joe or somebody that needs something, that we can facilitate what their need might be. They can say, I might need a new math program that might help or something like that. We can help facilitate finding and getting that resource to them. And that comes through the software.
And then we budget $175,000 in computer instruction supplies. Most of that money goes to the copy center. It's for toner and copy supplies, as well as various cables that we might need to replace throughout the district.
Correct.
Yeah. Now we'll go into the BOCES code. So we have two BOCES codes that we use. This is Central Data Services. This is more of back-end office kind of services throughout the district. Most of our network support comes from we outsource it to a company called CSDNet. Frank actually comes from CSDNet, as well as most of our techs downstairs. About $500,000 of the $891,000 it goes to CSDNet. And we'll go into a little more detail as to what the various positions are within and what CSDNet also provides to us in those numbers aside from physical bodies. We have Power School, Internet, Phone and Fiber, and NYSCD reporting, including data warehouse as well as test scoring programs. This is the other half of the CSDNet. It's basically split 50-50 between the two categories. Major components of this would be Microsoft licensing, scholarship, mobile device repairs. We try to repair the devices in-house. Sometimes we have to send them out to the company to get the devices repaired when they break. Parent Square, and you'll see that we added this year Chromebook replacement for 2 grades. This was not in last year's budget. That accounts for the majority of the increase in the budget from year to year. Just going back, looking as to how we funded past purchases of Chromebooks as well as teacher devices that they use. Last year or the year before, we received some ECF funding, about $400, maybe a little over $400,000, where we purchased.
We purchased Chromebooks for
higher end.
The newer Chromebooks that we needed to basically refresh for the teachers. So we had separate Chromebooks that the teachers utilized, which we put in the hands of our teachers to see what works better for them than what the students use. Students use more of a touchscreen, tentable type of thing where they can use it as a tablet as well as using it as a normal Chromebook, where the teachers had a different basic request of what they utilize for their Chromebook. So we got a nice setup for all of our staff, administrators and teachers. They needed a refresh on those systems.
The new teacher Chromebooks also have an i3 processor that is an actual processor that most Chromebooks don't have, so you can actually, it's basically a laptop, so it allows you to use it as the proper tool.
In addition to the ECF funding, 1,800?
1,100.
1,100 Chromebooks were purchased through the COVID funding. So that's where most of our replacement cycle has come from, between ECF funding and the COVID funding. Last year, there was no allocation in the budget to replace Chromebooks. That is $175 will get you 2 grades worth of Chromebooks. We should probably have another grade in there, which will look to increase that number a little next year. So you'll be on a 4-year replacement cycle with the Chromebooks, which is pretty much end of life of Chromebooks.
Correct. So what happened was, when we had the COVID funding versus ECF and stuff to purchase these Chromebooks, we bought them in a large smartphone per se. A bunch of grades at one time. We had to get a remote device in everybody's hands at that particular time, so we ordered a lot at one time. So the refreshment, so what happens is they're aging out, and because we bought 5 grades at a time, when we normally didn't do that, we had to do that. So now they're starting to see their age. So we're trying to implement a refresh cycle for them for the kids that we see in the middle school, high school, and stuff like that. They've had those Chromebooks that followed with them year to year, and they're starting to see their age. We replace them, we repair them, we do everything we can, but they get worn out. So we just wanted to get us back on a cycle where we're not caught where we have to buy 5 grades at a time. If we could just do it year to year and get us back on track to have a device that's new, refreshed, and the kids can utilize without it being constantly broken or issues that are happening. And we do our best to repair them. But this will get us back on track to kind of get that into the flow.
What was the grade that had the Chromebooks, the 9th grade?
The 9th graders have had them since 7th grade, so that's why we're looking to swap them out. So also manufacturers like Dell come out and Chrome OS and say, after, when they release new iPhones every year and they say, we're no longer supporting these following devices. So these old Chromebooks are supported until June of 2029, but we feel we don't know if they can physically make it to June of 2029. But regardless, by June of 2029, for security reasons and software updates and to be able to run applications, you won't be able to upgrade them to the latest OS.
There's a pie chart of what the instructional technology portion of the budget is, and it's a little bit less than 3% out of the entire budget. And I believe I've always heard that you should be spending about 5% of your budget. That number includes associated wages in it, which we've never presented before. So the $3.1 million includes the wages that are associated with the department.
This is our basic overview of our graph of what our staffing is. So we have three of the positions here are actually district employees. So we have a clerical part-time, we have a data specialist, Christine Wise, who's with us, the director of technology, which is currently a vacant position. Then we have a senior network engineer, which is myself, our public relations, which is Shannon Graff, our copy center technician, which is Connie Gambino, and then our technicians that are behind it do all of our day-to-day work in every building, fielding tickets. I know a bunch of you have seen Brian here at some of the board meetings, Juan, Alex, and we do have a part-time position. We used to be full-time in that spot, but we brought it back to a part-time because we can handle what we need, so we kind of pulled that back. We didn't need another full-time technician in that spot. We're going to utilize that part-time as far as hours of when the beginning of school happens for the first couple of months. We come in and teachers they got a lot of stuff going on, and tickets come in with fury, and we're running around doing, so we're going to have somebody that can supplement that stuff for a couple of months during the year. And then if we have any rollouts, have any new devices or anything that we need an extra hand, we can call up and utilize that on a case-by-case basis. It's not, we can use it when we want for that person to be filled. So outside of what the staffing is locally, which you saw in the previous slide, this is what we also employ within the budget through CSDNet. So basically, they have a bunch of different groups based upon what we have here in the district. So they have a data group, which helps with the switches, keeping them updating with the software that we have when we do we have all the maintenance contracts on. They will facilitate updating and making sure that those systems are up to date and correct on the data group. If anything happens to a switch, if we need something, it goes down, the network closet goes down, something like that, we can employ them basically to help our staff get us back online and have additional equipment that they have in place that before we can RMA like a switch fail or something like that, they can give us a span, a loaner until we get
up and running that day.
As well as our wireless, our firewall, all these different implementations require specific expertise of who runs these systems. So I manage, along with my team, the day-to-day operations. I can do stuff with a lot of the firewall, the wireless, and the data, but when there's things that are above and beyond as far as equipment failure or more integral things that need to be done, we can rely on them, and they come in and they can help us with that. The cybersecurity group is another one where what we do is internally and externally on a bi-monthly basis, they probe the network. We have an internal penetration server, a pen test, what they do. So they check all of our internal services and see what holes we have, what patches we didn't do, if we're lapsed on certain things that we didn't get to or something like that. They'll give us a report bi-monthly and say, hey, you have to fix X, Y, Z on your Windows machines, on your servers, on your SQL, something like that. Then there's our external, which will probe from the outside and say, all right, there are some 0 days, 0 days are addressed 0 day. They see it right away, they let us know, we patch it. But if there are things like you have SSH ports open, or certain things that you can see from the outside that could be a vulnerability for us, they tell us right away and say, hey, you guys have to patch this stuff. So there's somebody that's constantly looking at it because we're doing so many other things. I can't be on top of it. So we employ them to just do something. And we have a bi-monthly meeting where the reports come out. We go over it, all of our techs together, as well as their staff, and we go over everything to say, this is what we have. How can we help you mitigate this if you need mitigation, or can you handle it yourselves? And we do that. So that happens routinely. And like I said, if there is a 0 day, that will be addressed.
What happens is when there's an issue or a manufacturer finds that there's a hole in their software, they have to report it, and so it's called a CVE, and that gets rated. So when Frank refers to 0 days come out, that we call them, and that means it's a critical update and it has to be addressed today because it's a 0 day vulnerability. So that means it's a major hole that was found and should be patched immediately. There's other ones that are ranked high and medium, but that's where they're helpful, and they send us reports every week and say, hey, these are all the CVEs that came out this week. Did you patch all these? Correct. So a lot of these groups are people, at the office that we call upon when we need help. So this is everything we completed, not everything, but this is what we completed this year. So at the end of last year, we bought new Lenovo devices for the high school and middle school teachers. Those were those higher end Chromebooks we were talking about that we're looking to roll out even further, possibly next year. So we replaced high school and middle school teacher Chromebooks. We implemented a Lexmark translation service through Lexmark at the copiers, which is something the teachers have been asking for, and the office staff. So now you can take those letters that are going home or going in the backpack and scan them through the Lexmark copier, and it'll translate it out into, I think there's 64 different languages you can pick from. So this way, we're doing that in-house, and they're getting the same copy as soon as it's printed for the regular students, the students. And we also implemented this year, which was a big summer task, Master Library, which is our work order system for both facilities and technology, and ML Schedules, which is for athletics scheduling of the fields and building use forms also. So everything's now in one system under one hood, and every department can see what's going on in someone else's department. This is more general stuff that we routinely support, such as the cybersecurity that Frank was talking about. We support all live streaming throughout the district, so Plain Edge TV handles most of the live streaming throughout the district, but we're always on hand to provide additional support or fix any issues that might come up for them. We implemented a new Unitrends backup appliance at the middle school. So we take backups of servers, obviously, in case something happens and you need to revert back. So we further expanded that this year at the middle school.
And what that system helps us employ, which is really good for our end, is that when basically the backup system goes normal, like we always had. This new system allows us to spin up a sandbox where we can easily restore and test the restoration. So we do that on a routine basis. Most of the time we do it with our WinCap software for the financials, and basically probably quarterly we would restore it. See our business office, Krista, who handles our payroll, and she'll check into our restoration from the backup and say, does all this look good? Because you never know what your backups are until you test them, until it's a problem when your backups are bad. So this system helps us kind of spin up like a virtual restoration instead of restoring it in the existing spot, and we can test it, make sure that our backups are sound and they work, and she verifies that we sign off on that and keep a copy of it for our records. So that we basically put another layer onto that.
We implemented in libraries and in the music wing new interactive displays that are very common now in education. So rather than just a projector and a whiteboard or even the smart boards that we're looking to replace, you now have basically a TV, but it's interactive and it can do a lot more than a TV can. So you're all your brains and everything are in that TV. You don't need any additional, equipment to run touch or any of the other things that the teachers use. And then what we do on a daily basis is tickets. So teachers put in tickets that say, I need help, my printer's not working, my student's Chromebook isn't working. That's, I don't want to say bulk of our work, but that's our work. So we've completed over 6,800 tickets to date. But there's also a lot happens that is not, unfortunately, not that is not ticketed. So we get phone calls, we get side calls, you're in the building, somebody needs help. So that's what we do on a daily basis. And then support, 150 network switches. The VMware, we're all virtual here, so the servers are all virtual, so they run on 16 hosts, which are beefy servers that run the 87 virtual servers. So this way you don't need 87 physical servers here that we support. These are our mobile devices that the kids have. So like we said, we're looking to implement a phase-in plan to start replacing some of these Chromebooks. And we still have iPads that are in the district too that need to be phased in too as they get older.
Yeah, this is what we're going to, basically our initiatives are coming for the next school year. We're going to replace the 2 grades like we discussed with new Dell Chromebooks, and we will cycle those through with the grades that have the longest to refresh those in. The charging cards for elementary schools to keep our Chromebooks in the classrooms and have them in a charged, locked environment where they can get them in the morning and we can use them during the day, and then we put them back there to keep those charged and ready to go.
The idea is they don't have to take them home if
Right.
there's no
You want to
assignment.
take them home, they got a spot to be there, and it's in every
They'll
classroom.
be charged and ready to go at
Charged
all
and ready to
times.
go. One of our biggest implementations that I want to deploy and do over this end of this year and into the summer is getting us all upgraded to Windows 11 desktops. So as we know, Windows 11 has been around for a long time. We've been deploying Windows 10. Windows 10 is becoming end of life by Microsoft. So to keep us up to date with security updates, we want to go to Windows 11. We all use Windows 11. We kind of keep it on a cadence of not being the first ones going there because of our educators and our staff. They're used to Windows 10, and now they all have their own devices that are Windows 11, so we're going to move that forward. By doing that, we're going to implement 2 new virtual servers that will allow for the more memory and robustness of what Windows 11 allows for. Where Windows 10, you didn't need as much memory on your desktops like that. So this gives us the ability to seamlessly move to Windows 11. So by the start of September of next year, everybody will be on Windows 11. And will be on the latest versions that Microsoft employs and be in the latest security. So that's kind of like a big thing that we want to take care of for this coming school year.
And all desktops is really all desktops. It's desktops that you wouldn't even think there's desktops, like the POS stations in the cafeteria have to go to Windows 11, and the graphics software that runs the scoreboard outside needs to go to Windows 11, so there's a lot.
All of our touches software for our scholarship machines,
Visitor
that do our
management.
visitor management, the people that come up, everything has to just be upgraded through that system. So that'll help support that.
That's kind of big.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Just a quick
Somebody
question.
writing.
Huh?
Somebody writing.
Yeah, it was me. So just curious, I'm assuming that the devices that are chosen for pre-K and special education, that comes from the teachers and curriculum instruction, or is that part of?
So for the special education, it's usually IEPs and special requests that come down that the special education department needs to furnish, and we'll assist with that and make sure that they either have an iPad. Some of our students need like large screens for visual impairments. So we'll help facilitate with all of that stuff. It's mostly at the special ed level is iPads for most of the students there, but anything that comes to us through the special ed department, we assist and help get.
And pre-K uses iPads because that's.
So the pre-K uses the iPads right now for the PBIS system, mostly for their point system.
Yeah.
So every student has to log in and get their PBIS, so we facilitate having iPads.
It's like those weren't purchased new though, right? They were.
Those are not
Those
purchased.
were
Those were
repurposed.
kind of.
Repurposed.
We
those.
repurposed
Yeah,
them.
and they're in charging stations in the front of the class, and they use them for their PBS function. So
Okay.
give them a Chromebook, obviously pre-K doesn't.
We were discussing with pre-K, exactly, that's how we came up with iPads.
next year.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where we utilize those.
The other question I had was the charging cards for the elementary. Is that all grades or is that just?
Well, we're
So,
trying to buy two grades this year, K and
And
1.
2 grades.
Oh, K and 1.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have some money in the budget that we think we can squeeze out 2 grades, and then we're gonna try to roll it up.
Okay.
I think when they get up to a certain grade, is the 5th grade, they take them home every night because they have assignments.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
we'll be looking to roll it to 4th grade as funds are available.
Yeah. And those will be in a 20 20 Chromebook lock charge case up to a 36 lock charge case, depending on the
The
class.
20s will fit the kindergarten classes. After that, they don't make
First,
anything
second, and
between
third.
20 and 36.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's 2 grades across all 3 elementary
Yeah,
schools?
correct.
Yes.
Couple of questions. The BOCES money, that's aidable?
Yes.
The sign at the middle school, how does that relate to the original project? Is that being treated as a change order, or is that a separate?
The what?
The sign, the sound system at the middle school?
The facade?
The sound
Oh,
system?
sound system. No, we already had money for that. It's not a change order.
Okay. And the infrastructure is in place?
Yep.
It was done?
Yep. I think Lantec ran the conduit, and then we had the steel
two
already
conduits.
installed.
We were able to tap into the nearest Musco pole. If you see where the scoreboard's going, there's a Musco pole here. So we ran 2 conduits under the ground for power and electric, and ran 2 Cat 6s, which is a copper interconnect, back to that Musco pole. So we didn't have to go back to the building, which was fortunate.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so, much better presentation this year, so thank you very much. A lot of breakdowns of what we're spending at BOCES, it's all important. So the biggest budget driver is the Chromebooks.
Yes. It's 175 out of 275.
Would you say now we're gonna be on a cycle where we don't have to see these?
And I think we
massive
need to add
increases?
another year, another grade.
Ideally, if we could add another grade next year into that cycle would be.
So we don't have major hits like that. It's a pretty big impact of the budget, and you said there was nothing built in last year for actual.
Correct, there was no replacement cycle in it.
It's unfortunate, yeah. All right, regarding upgraded internet service, I guess, what does that mean? On the BOCES central data?
So we get internet from 2 different internet service providers, primarily from Nassau BOCES, that comes to the high school, and then we have a redundant 5 gigabit internet service that comes to the middle school in the event of a failover. But that it's not an active standby model. It's called an active spillover. So that 5 gig is being utilized for guest wireless, and then if we go above what our speed is at BOCES, so it is constantly.
And that also handles our PRIs, which is our phone circuits. So we have a redundant phone circuit at the middle school, and we have the primary circuit at the high school. So that's part of the internet services. It carries off of the
It's
BOCES.
kind of like feeding that a little bit, even though it's our backup system.
Correct,
it's
and that
helping
runs
out.
through the BOCES fiber that we implement through.
It's good utilization, so it's not I'm sure that people have redundancies that aren't being used, and it's
Correct.
waste kind of, this is actually being used.
Yes.
Which is great, it's good. All right, so we should stable out with the
The Chromebooks.
Chromebooks, which is good. It's a big hit. And so when you were talking about the sandbox, I guess that you would spin up in the middle school and test our backups, is that kind of like a test environment versus production, I guess? Is that
Correct.
what you're?
So there's a physical device that we have there, which does the backups with the data disks that are in there.
It's
That
like
we
tape,
back
is it
up
like
with.
a?
Those are physical drives. We
Okay.
do have tape. that
At
we-
the high school. yeah.
It's another layer that we have.
It's another, okay.
But this device actually has the drives in them. So what it does is, that's the first layer of defense, is the backup to the drive. Then we go to tape, and then we also have what's called a air gap backup, which is, it goes backed up every other week to the high school, to the middle school, and then they physically get their network links unplugged. So there's no way that anybody can get to them until we physically plug them back in. But to the sandbox point of it is that unit employs a virtual system within it where you can spin up your server that you backed up in a sandbox type of environment, log into it, verify the data that you have, and then we usually have somebody from the business. We usually do our financial system, so more important systems that we look at is file systems.
Spot check, right? Spot check, oh.
Exactly. And then we do have sign off on it, and we record it and keep it, who signed off in the business office and myself for the research.
And it's helpful too in the event that just one file gets deleted out of the folder. You're spinning up in a sandbox, we're grabbing that one file and just giving it to the user, rather than having to restore 10 gigs of a server
Yeah.
just to get the one file that was accidentally deleted.
Which happens.
Good, yeah. And does the DPO get involved in that, I guess, or no? The data protection?
No, that would be something that we would
It's
handle.
just you, it's
Yeah.
totally separate, okay. And you said there's gonna be 2 new servers, so there'll be 18 servers next year? You said to get everybody on Windows 11?
So the servers that we have employed currently, some of these new servers will sunset those older ones out. So the 2 servers that we're getting will most likely replace 4 servers.
Okay.
Because the technology
more
increases,
efficient.
where they're more powerful, they have better technology in them so technically we'll be removing 4 servers, which is less power to the system because we'll reuse it.
2, and then they're,
Which still, one of the middle school, one of the high school, to keep with our redundancy protocol. It won't be all of the high school. We'll keep it split for our redundancy system. So
great. Yes. That was a much better presentation this year. Thank you so much for breaking everything down. I appreciate it, and we'll see everything year to year. We'll see next year. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to business.
Mr. Mayor, we have a addendum to the PAR, so that's 1A item that we're walking in tonight.
Okay, great, thank you. So do I have a motion to approve items 1 through 23 as amended? Mr. Morrissey, second. Mr. Garcia, all in favor?
All in favor, 7? Motion passed.
Moving on to Pride and Plan Edge, opportunity for board members to present on attendance participation at school and/or community events.
Mrs. Muscarella already spoke about this, but I had the opportunity to go to the college fair last night with my son. And we went last year as well. He was a 10th grader though, so it was very overwhelming. But I do have to say that the guidance department did a fantastic job. And even from year to year, you can see how much it has expanded. Even the breakout sessions, I thought that was fantastic. And I feel like there were more colleges there from out of state.
Mhm.
And so now my son wants to go very far away. So thank you, Mr. Watson. So great job by the guys.
So this past weekend I went to the robotics competition for the high school kids. It was at Hofstra once again. It's always a good time to check out what they're doing. So we have 18 students on that team. They did a great job. They placed in the middle of the pack, about like the 50th percentile. Unfortunately, they weren't picked by other teams to be in the lines for the playoffs. But they did very well. They had good camaraderie, and it was good to see Plain Edge being represented there. So just hopefully, we can. That's something I want to bring up with the next administration, getting maybe more resources. I think because there's other schools that have looks like a lot more resources there. So something we can talk about in the future. For the Blacks kids, other teams have really good setups, and I guess it attracts other kids to join the team and whatnot. So I've seen in the past, it's been over like 30, 40 kids on the robotics team. It's only 18. So definitely, if we could do more from this position as the board, it'd be nice to help that program out, so get more kids involved. But no, they were all having fun, all the 18 kids over there, so it's good to see. I'm glad they were representing as well.
I want to go before anybody mentions Frozen. So I went to, sorry, I brought my daughter. She loves Frozen. So I didn't realize a lot of little girls were dressed like one of the princesses. Like, oh, I bought that costume.
Right.
It's half in tatters, but it was one more chance. Really well done. I mean, really high production value for a middle school group. The kids were amazing. I mean, really amazing. You had 2 Elses and 2 Annas, depending on, the beginning of the show and the end of the show. All the kids were great. A couple of them really stole the show, I think you could say. But really, it felt like a high school production, but it felt like a really good high school production. It didn't even feel like sometimes you go to somebody else's high school and you're like, that was not good. This was better than a lot of high school productions. And it was so good, my daughter insisted that we go to the last show, which only worked out because we had whatever, a fire alarm or whatever. So it got pushed back and we were able to make it to that last one. So I sort of bullied my way in through the front door with her and we were able to go. So I just want to point out, none of that happens without a whole bunch of people going above and beyond, from students to staff, and that was really amazing. So it was fun to go to.
Yeah, just touching on that, I mentioned to Mr. Smith at the end, was like, he was able to go to Friday night and Saturday during the day. They really got a taste of live theater on Saturday, and just really very, very impressed with the poise that they'll demonstrate coming back from what I think must have been a 45-minute intermission. They didn't miss a beat. Christoph picked it right back up from where he was, and it was as if we had never left. So just very, very impressed all around.
Yeah, great. Anyone else? No. Okay, moving on to new business, but before we do, Mr. Morrissey had mentioned maybe we should talk about some of the items on the consent agenda that is not typical. Do you want?
Sure, I jotted it down under old business because I guess
Okay.
it's kind of old business.
Good point.
No, I just wanted to make sure that we pointed out that everyone's aware in an effort to be completely open and transparent, that there were a couple of items that have been held over for more consideration. These were the capital propositions as well as the at-large voting item. And to reiterate that these were all presented and discussed in previous meetings. We asked to hold them over so we could have a little more time to think about it. And that the only action the board really is taking is that these are now going to the community for their vote on it. And we're not making these decisions. We're just saying we think that these are worthwhile for the community to weigh in on and ultimately vote on. As far as the capital propositions are concerned, it's health and safety. We have stair treads and masonry pointing and HVAC, replacement. So, the sort of the guts of the buildings to make sure that our students are able to go to school in a safe environment and that they have air conditioning that we didn't have in the house.
Yeah. All right. Some other old business, superintendent search update. So we conducted fully our first round of interviews. At this point, we are moving on to this week, the second round of interviews. We narrowed it down to 3 finalists. And so that's obviously the board's going to meet with those 3 individuals. And hopefully we'll have the person chosen. But there's always the potential that we might go into another round. So that's it in terms of superintendent search update. There's no informational reports. At this point, I'm going to open it up to the opportunity for public comment. We ask that all comments are directed to the Board of Ed President. We ask that you please limit your time to 2 minutes in total. Please use the microphone and state your name. Also, I know we have some people in the audience, but one of the other things I just want to point out is that if you wish to discuss matters involving district personnel or students, we ask that you please speak to the superintendent during regular hours. Has to do with privacy rights for both employees and students. Thank you. So I'm going to open it up.
Good evening. My name is Andrea Zinn, and I've been involved in robotics for the last 11 years as a mentor, as a judge, and now as a parent. I have seen firsthand what robotics programs do for students. They are developing real-world skills that extend beyond technology. Spend some time at a robotics event, and you will see a gymnasium full of students that are excited to be learning. They gain the confidence to make presentations and be interviewed by adults. They gain conversation skills to properly strategize with students from other teams, and they learn that they can do hard things. The middle school FTC teams have done things this year that no Plain Edge teams have ever done before. The middle school FTC team came in second place at a qualifying tournament at the beginning of the season, which qualified them to the Long Island Championship. They won an award for the programming of their robot at their second event, despite not having programming classes in the middle school. They earned a spot in the Long Island Championship, and then from there, they earned a spot at an FTC premier event, giving them the opportunity to compete against and learn from teams from all around the world, an honor that is only bestowed to 8% of teams around the world. These kids have earned this and they will never have this opportunity again. First Robotics opens a lot of doors for students in terms of skill building, networking, and scholarship opportunities. These are things that the teams of the district need to be able to take advantage of. First Robotics calls themselves the varsity sport for the mind. And it's the only sport where every single participant has the opportunity to go pro. Thank you.
So my name's Elizabeth. I'm Sophia Bigelow.
I'm Rishi Kumar.
And I'm Michael Zoe. So we as a robotics team would like to have the Board of Education support to go on this trip that I think we all deserved, and we all did such a good job on our robotics team, and it's the first time in our middle school team that we've ever gotten an opportunity like this.
So in our 13 years of this middle school robotics team existence, this is the first time any team has made it this far. So we would like the opportunity from all of you to get a chance to make it to Kentucky so we can compete and hopefully win again.
I would like all of you to think of all of our hard work and how hard we had to plan and think about how we designed and programmed the robot. Michael worked so hard on the programming for it, and he learned everything on his own. And through the help of his mom, so we would really like if you guys could support us and fund us to go.
I just wanted to say how hard we worked to get this far, and that we really should have the opportunity to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Leo. I am 6th grade robotics. My sister Sophia, she's my sister. I've been to so many of her competitions before, and I have been right after my club to her programs and everything. And I've seen everyone working hard, doing the work, building the robots by their hands, and practicing multiple times, coding. And our president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, keeping track of everything, and not only doing it by themselves. Even if they have a teacher, they still do it by themselves and try really hard. And also, my teammates and their teammates have went home, watched how to build the robots and everything in program. And I've seen them do teamwork, and even if they have gotten 13th place, they still try their best to go up and do it again and retry and get a better score.
Hello, my name is Nina Gopon. I am the mother of Sophia Viglio and Benedetta Viglio, 8th and 6th grade respectively. I just want to tell the board, and I don't mean this in any rude manner, put your money where your mouth is. You guys push STEAM, you push technology, complain about the technology budget, and here we are with the robotics program requesting for help. I'm gonna get emotional. But let's support the underdog. Let's support the things that our kids really need to be successful in the future. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Ferguson. I am co-president for the Plain Edge Council of PTAs and also for the high school. And I just wanted to comment, I think it's great about the robotics. And maybe something to look into would be help from the PTAs. if they want to do some fundraising or anything like that, we're willing to help out.
So obviously, thank you all for coming. I think as a board, obviously, we support the robotics team. I know Mr. Garcia, he's spoken to the advisors about that and ensuring that maybe you have better equipment and things like that on the go forward. With respect to the trip to Kentucky, and I spent a lot of Saturday talking to a mom from the robotics team and, a few items. I mean, one, obviously, we've never sent the middle school team away, so I think there's concerns around that and what the logistics around that looks like, what the risks are to the school district. I think we're working through those issues, and I think maybe we're in a good position over there. But it definitely needs to be finalized. I think the other thing, obviously, is the money aspect. And, the thing that we have to do as a district is treat everyone the same. And so, I'd love to say we can give money to a club, but then we have to open that up to all the clubs. And a lot of clubs, they fundraise for their trips. That's just the way it is, whether it's cheer, the music clubs, any trip that is, the trips to Europe that they do in high school, they're all funded by the clubs, other than, I think it's a stipend to the chaperones and transportation to and from the airport, all that's self-funded. So, again, we have to be responsible for taxpayer money, and I do think this is a great endeavor, but again, we have to be equitable in how we handle things. So, if you need support from the board, obviously we're happy to blast information out about fundraisers to help get bodies to an event, to help you raise the money for this trip to Kentucky, but in terms of actually using taxpayer funds, it's just not something we can do beyond what I already enunciated. I know it's not the answer you're looking for, I'm sorry, but we will help out any way we can. Anyone else have comment?
Is there a way to have a discussion about this in the future for future budgets, for future programming, for future clubs to have the opportunity? Because I would hate for them to put in this amount of work every year. I mean, the 6th graders got a robotics design award this year that few ever get. I mean, they were blown away. The judges were just blown away by their amazing work. So if that came along with the trip and an instructional opportunity, I mean, the 8th graders have an opportunity to go to the Toyota factory and learn hands-on engineering and what that actually means in the real world. So there is an educational aspect to it. But how do we get to the point where we're able to support our kids in the future that get the award but then don't have the means to go accept it?
Yeah, I think, this was a surprise to everyone, right? Like, no one's expecting the team to do that
Actually,
well.
it wasn't a surprise to me because I've been following them since 6th grade, and let me tell you the work they've done. They're one of the few middle school, teams that compete at a high school level.
Right.
At a high school level, there are the only 13-year-olds there, surrounded by 18-year-olds.
Right.
The height difference is stark.
I mean, it's astronomical. Sometimes, that could be an advantage, but,
I would say, again, I was speaking to one particular parent who is on the robotics team, and I put her in touch with a person that can help with fundraising, that knows how to set up a booster club, just like we have for all the sports teams. Those are all run by parents, and they collect money and they fundraise, and they're organized. I don't know actually how they're organized, but you have the 8-meter club for lacrosse, you have the crease club for boys lacrosse, you have the quarterback club. I know cheer has something, kickline has something. The music, whether it's choral, they have triumph, but they have a music club, but they have for the trips that they actually do for chorus, band, and orchestra, they actually fundraise for those as well. So all that stuff is outside taxpayer money. It's strictly through fundraising, whether it's car washes, Super Bowl boxes, March Madness brackets, whatever variety it takes. And I think, again, I'm happy to connect you with people that,
No, I was part of
So-
the PTA, sorry for interrupting, for the elementary school, and to be honest with you, I love the work the PTA does, but there are certain limitations that they're only allowed to do.
this is outside the PTA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is completely outside, so it could be like the 7662 Robotics Parents Club.
Okay.
And then you have your booster club, and then you build up a fundraising apparatus and, you know, what the, I don't know if they have articles in corporation, I don't know how formal they are. But again, I'm happy, and the school district can put you in touch with the people who kind of run those clubs. If you don't know who they are, I know a lot of people, I can put you in touch with every one of them if you want. And I'm sure they're happy to help you out. Obviously, I know you're working with a condensed timeframe in terms of the application, which I think the initial application fee is due tomorrow. And
This week, yes.
it's, yeah, this week.
26th.
Oh, it's Friday? Oh, sorry. For some reason, I thought it was Wednesday.
There was a miscommunication.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, maybe I just have bad information about that.
No, it wasn't, it was not, you have bad information, there was miscommunication in general.
Oh, okay. So, you know, obviously, there's that, and then, you know, I think it's one of those things, like, you're in Plainedge, people rally to help out our students. So if you start fundraising, I don't know if you'll cover the whole cost. I mean, I know it's probably, it's a big number based on what I saw preliminarily. I don't even know if that number's right, but I think, you know, you could potentially get a good portion of it there. And, you know, again, like, we're the type that we're happy to use whatever communication tools we have at our disposal to help you fundraise. I don't know if you want to jump in on something?
Yeah, I think some of that work might be happening with at least one of the moms, because my wife asked me today what I thought about her taking over the robotics club parent group next year, and I said, please God, let somebody else do this one. And it's not because it's just we're tapped out as a family, it feels like sometimes. You know, we started talking about robotics, I feel like just a month ago, because I went to a robotics competition. I'll be honest, I don't know if my son will do it next year. He didn't really do much that day. I don't know how involved he is, but I thought it was awesome. And just 2 weeks ago, we asked the curriculum and instruction department. I mentioned, can we lean into academic competitions? There are other ones too. It's not just robotics. And then it was like, holy cow! All of a sudden, we need a lot of money. It's like, well, where did this come from? And the reality is, the unfortunate part is, it's a surprise to all of you too. Those other clubs do have an advantage. They've been around a long time. They knew to expect this, right? You guys have to do it kind of in short order. I will say, if you could start it, I do think there's a good chance to get somewhere. There's a lot of, we all must have spoke individually all week, trying to figure out what is the thing, what is the need, what can we do and what can't we do. It'd be really easy to say, yep, we'll cut the check, we can't. So like that would have been easier. It's always easy to say yes to people, by the way. Like that's fun. There's not much fun here, but when you get to say yes to someone, that's kind of fun. We can't. But anything that you guys can start, we can help as much. It sounds like the PTA will get involved too. They're more limited than a parent group would be. Just start fundraising and you'll figure out the rest. That usually solves all the problems. When it comes to actually the organization of the parent group and who would take it up, we'll figure that stuff out down the line. I've been involved in a lot of bylaws and articles of incorporation and all that. You all have my number, you can call me anytime. But unfortunately, I think where we did land and where we are is there isn't money from the school that can do this. So if you guys can figure out how to fundraise and how quick to do it, if you start feeling like there's traction for the big number, the smaller number always comes up, right? So that would be my suggestion. If you have a lot of our numbers, we'll do whatever we can, but we can only do what we can.
Anyone else want to come to the mic? No? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Marcy, second. Mr. Garcia, all in favor?
7 in favor, motion passed, 8:34 PM.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.